Today we want to talk about some of the powerful features that Dynamics 365 Enterprise offers. One of those is mobility applications and or mobility apps and being able to create and dispense those, as well as warehouse management system functionality. Now this functionality actually came out with AX 2012 R3 and it's been expanded upon in Dynamics 365E as well. We're also going to touch on a little bit about transportation management because they're going to go hand in hand. We're also going to talk about the ability that Microsoft has given Dynamics 365 users to increase productivity, and they've done this with workspaces, Power BI, full Office integrations, as well as mobile apps, which we just talked about a little bit. We're also going to discuss the flexible deployment options of Dynamics 365 Enterprise and just how you get the best of breed all in one ERP at a very economical price. So now go ahead and get started. My name is Hope Enochs, and I'm with Clients First Business Solutions. I have 34 years of implementation project management functional experience. I have about 6 years with Dynamics AX family in Dynamics 365 for Enterprise. They made it a little difficult for us by changing the name, but our company has been we have a very experienced team that's worked together for a number of years, very rare with consultants. We target primarily distribution, manufacturing, and job shops, maintenance, repair, and overhaul. Our team has a very deep skill set, and we definitely are lean on the lean implementation side. We believe in lean implementations, and we do not focus on customizations. We use the product as much as we can right out of the box. Our team's been working with the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Enterprise product all the way since it was Exapta in 1998, and we've seen it all the way through. In versions 2.0 to AX 2009, Microsoft focused on reliability, and they also added quality and inspection. 2012, of course, was a big major release. It was normalized the database was normalized to the 9th degree in this. And they also made major updates to financials, added a complete warehouse management and transportation management system, ability to track via license plates. Handheld functionality was added as well. Prior to R3 release, you needed an add-on in order to do that. Rebate functionality, really the 2012 release was broken up into 3 parts, and the R3 release gave the new functionality, which is the foundation for D365 E or O, depending on what you want to call it. We have it O on this slide, but it is called sometimes Dynamics 365 for Operations, as well as Dynamics 365 Enterprise Edition. And the focus on this release was mobility. The user interface is written into HTML5. There was also a major focus on increasing personal productivity and giving users power, as well as business analytics. So again, the areas of investment that Microsoft has invested with the progression of the Dynamics 365 Enterprise for Finance and Operations is intelligent insights, so the ability to turn data into actionable intelligence. In other words, giving you data that you can actually make decisions with and make changes in your operation to reflect the changes that you see in your data. Productive experiences, the user interface for Dynamics 365 for Operations, the whole purpose is to engage and empower employees and increase their productivity. The power of the cloud scale, if the Dynamics 365 Enterprise for Finance and Operation is used in the cloud, the ability to to scale with your business and utilize familiar tools. And last but not least, the ability to do business anywhere, anytime, from any place. The product, Dynamics 365 Enterprise for Finance and Operations, is a complete ERP solution, complete financial capabilities, and it works in a variety of industries. In fact, I've yet to meet an industry it doesn't work for. It's strong in distribution, cost management, inventory management, master planning, procurement, sourcing, production control, manufacturing, warehouse management, and so forth. So think for a moment how mobility or mobile phones have changed our life, not only our life here in the United States, but across the world, especially in developing countries. Over the last 25 years, many developing nations just skipped right over building landlines and went straight to deploying cell phone towers. And this allowed them to not only communicate better, but it also allowed them to access the internet and to be able to have access to the wider world. And so new technologies and businesses have sprung up in these countries based on this, such as telemedicine, banking, education, and other critical services. The end result has been drastically better economy and opportunity for all and a better quality of life. So what if you had a way to skip legacy technology, quickly connect your employees and supply chain, and link the services critical to your business? Wouldn't you be able to improve the bottom line, find and act on new business opportunities, and improve the engagement and productivity of your employees? I believe the answer to that is yes. But in order to do that, you have to have a modern ERP that allows you to unify data and machine learning and leverages mobile devices and so forth. And guess what? Dynamics 365 for Finance and Operations can certainly do that. And we're going to take a look how. So what you're able to do is create workspaces, and we're going to talk a little bit more about workspaces. Workspaces are available within the product as well as within the mobile devices. I think by now everybody's familiar with the home page theory, and most ERP solutions have homepage theories. And the theory behind those is that you can get an aerial view of the areas of the business that you're responsible for, and then drill down to actually perform actions or to work. So this is great, but it's somewhat limited if you work in different areas of the business. Say that you have some financial responsibility, but you also overlook production as well as procurement. So what Dynamics 365 has done, Dynamics 365 for Operations has done, is it has allowed for the creation of workspaces, and these workspaces are equivalent to KPIs. Equivalent to home pages, but it allows you to have a different workspace for each area of the business that you're monitoring. And within these workspaces, you have your KPIs and so much more. So the same theory applies to being able to create mobility apps. First, you will create a workspace, and that is shown here in the app dashboard. And you see that in this particularly, the app menu looks like this, and you sign on to it. And then when you sign on to it, you'll see any of the workspaces that are available to you. And of course, the ability to access these workspaces or any of the apps are controlled by security within Dynamics 365 for Operations. And you'll see in this example that we have an app, a workspace for time and absence reporting, employee self-service, expense management, as well as sales order processing and inquiring. So if you were to select this, which if we selected the time management, then we would go into the workspace and it would show us what our different options are, what forms can we get to from here. So from here we could put in project time, we could view time daily, view time weekly, and review time. You see it has a 1 here telling us that we have some time to review. So you can go into the workspace and actually work through with list pages, and from, just like you can within within all versions of AX, actually, you have list pages, and then you can go into the detailed pages as well, straight from the mobile app. And you can also perform actions, and these actions are like create a new customer, create a new lead. So it's creating something new. The detail page will allow you to make updates as well. And then from the task page, you can enter the data, edit, and also execute business processes. So these are the parts that make up the apps within Dynamics 365 for Enterprise. So Dynamics 365 Enterprise also offers a lot of tools that allow you to create mobile apps, and they're really super easy to do. You do change into a different mode, and then you go into the setup menu and you have an option called mobile apps. Basically, you give your workspace a name, and then you tell it you want to add fields. And then you actually go within the application to the area that you're creating the mobile app for, and you'll note that there'll be a plus sign on the right side of each of the fields. You just go through and hit those pluses. It'll populate the fields under this Manage Mobile App page, and when you're finished, you can tell it that you're finished, and this is how it will come across in the app. It doesn't look exactly like it does within the client, because it formats it automatically so that it's easy to view. And notice down here at the bottom, you can see the actions, and so you could go straight from here and perform an action. This screen just shows us that we can add the details and drill down. Also, developers can create forms. Experienced users can create mobile apps from existing forms within Dynamics 365 for Operations, and developers are able to create their own forms and then also create these apps for their own phones. Side note before we move on from apps, is that apps can be created to work offline and synchronize whenever connection's available. So this is quite handy for maybe field service technicians who go out in the field to do services and need to update their service tickets. If they're in an area with no connections, they still can make the updates, and then as soon as they get in an area where they have service again, then it will update. So very powerful stuff in the form of mobility apps. Mobility and mobile apps, because Dynamics 365 Enterprise's user interface, this one that we see here, and we'll go into more, is also written in HTML5, which means it will work on any device. And then the mobile app allows us to design it even better so that it will work on smaller phones. So another big huge enhancement that Microsoft has given us for Dynamics 365 for Operations actually came in with AX 2012 R3, and that's a complete warehouse management system. Here we have a picture that shows the four building blocks that warehouse management is built upon. And first, it's waves. These are rules that can be set up to release work in waves, and this work can be set up to be released automatically ever so often. So you can release sales orders, production orders, or sales orders that need to be picked, production orders that need to be picked, as well as transfer orders that need to be picked. So production picking, sales order picking, transfer order picking, as well as purchase orders that come in, they're all going to work off of location directives. And location directives allow you to specify what needs to happen throughout the warehouse. For example, in a sales operation, you're going to have to pick directive, meaning pick this item up from here, and you're going to have a put. And at the very minimum, you're going to have it put into the shipping area. So you're going to pick it up from the location where it is stored and put it in the shipping area so that it can be shipped out. Of course, these location directives can be much more complicated and specialized for each each company, as well as by item or item group. Now, location directives are build work based on work templates, and the work itself is what actually goes to the handhelds or the mobile device and tells the warehouse people what needs to be done. And it's done in a very simple manner. They basically know we need to go pick up this and put it here, pick up this and put it there, and they they do have indication of whether it's production, sales, and transfer, but the system makes it very simple so that they just are told what to do. And they are also scanned when they're told to go someplace and pick something up. The first thing they're going to do is scan so the system can double check that they're in the right location, and then they will also scan the item so the system can double check that they are picking up the correct item. And this allows a great reduction in mistakes, helps increase accuracy tremendously. So some of the main new capabilities, which we just talked about, location directives, and location directives basically just outline the workflow for whether it's inbound workflow or outbound workflow. Work is generated off of work templates. Mobile devices are supported. Any HTML-based mobile device will work. So in other words, if you can get to an internet page, that device will work with Dynamics 365 operations warehouse management. Some other functionality that comes with the new warehouse management system is the ability to specify different reservation hierarchies and to have reservation hierarchies per item. And so these reservation hierarchies could, they're really very flexible, but basically you may tell the system that, that choosing the right warehouse is the most important thing, and then last in, first out. There's many ways that you can set these hierarchies for reservation, but it basically gives you more control onto how items are reserved and who gets what first and where it should be taken from. So we talked about the outbound, the waves, the work coming in waves. I just want you to know there can be multiple wave templates. Each wave template can have different scheduling for when these waves need to be processed. And in these waves, you can specify, that all of your top customers are going to get their sales orders picked first, and those kind of things. So lots of flexibility for these rules. We also have the ability to with the new warehouse management, we also have the ability to record a status. It's a new storage dimension, and this status could be blocked for some reason or available, and so it allows you to control what inventory can be picked or utilized and when, based on this new storage dimension. Batch control, there's more functionality related to batch control, and most of this is related to the fact that batch control primarily utilized in process manufacturing. Batches could have different attributes, and those attributes could have different values. You can specify on the customer end what range of acceptable values they will take on these attributes, and the system will actually help make sure that the customers get the right products based on that. To give you a concrete example, let's say that we are selling milk, and when we test the milk, we figure how much fat is in the milk, and we record that along with that batch of milk that we've just processed. So we may have customers that, because of the type or the way that they use the milk in their recipes, they may be looking for milk that has less than 30% fat in it. And so what the system can do with this batch control is, if you specify what the customer is looking for, then when the order is sent out to be picked, the system will look at what specifications the customer wants, and it will suggest that you pull that inventory. So quite a bit of power there. Quality management system, you can incorporate quality management in with the inbound and outbound workflows in warehouse management. Cross-docking is also new functionality that's available. That's very important if you order something from a supplier, or have an order transferred from another warehouse. It's already packaged and it can go straight to the customer. You can just cross-dock it, receive it in, and send it out without having to handle it. There is warehouse management workflow available for retail as well, specifically around transfer orders. And also warehouse management, you can now have work after packing. Prior to warehouse management, after packing, you were done because the order was now ready for invoicing. But if things after packing need to happen, like the boxes need to be palletized, or if there's a quality inspection, or if you need to do a consolidation of shipments or change to different loading docks, these can now all be modeled into the work step. Can also group containers. Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Operations calls this containerization. And what basically it does is it allows multiple packages or boxes, multiple SKUs, if you will, to be grouped together in one container. Quite often that's a pallet, could be a bin. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Enterprise calls it a license plate. And once you've loaded all of these things on a license plate, then now you can do all of your processing by license plate. So if you pick to a license plate, when you get ready to pack it, you can pack the license plate without having to pack the individual items. Container types are supported for inbound processing as well. And now Dynamics 365 Enterprise does offer support for the mixing of items, or SKUs, if you will, on pallets. That was not available before, so quite handy there. This next slide that I'm showing you shows you what a user would see on their mobile phone if they had access to all of the warehouse functions. So they could process inbound, and you see if they clicked inbound, this is the menu that they would get, but they would have purchase receive, purchase put away, transfer receive, RMA receives and put aways. And notice there's a driver check-in. Part of our transportation management helps you manage when drivers are going to do pickups as well as drop-offs if need be. Notice that outbound, this is picking and packing, can be done here. Inventory, this includes cycle counts, transfers as well. Production would include production pick list, quality, processing of quality orders. So these can all be done. You can see this is actually a detailed screen. It's showing the picker person who is picking this item, showing them a picture of the item. Notice it says that they need to scan the container to pick from. The container would be within the location. So next they will be asked to scan first they're asked to scan the location, then they're asked to scan the container to pick from, and then they'll be asked to verify that it's the correct item. So the whole idea behind it is to increase accuracy, but to make it very simple and quick for the warehouse management people to do their jobs. And of course, to keep everything up to date in Dynamics 365 Enterprise, so that everyone throughout the organization has transparency into what is actually going on. So we've previously talked a little bit about improved productivity, but how does it offer that? Well, one is the dashboard we talked about, where you have workspaces that are relative to the work that you're responsible for, or each individual task and field. These workspaces come out of the box with, there's more than 30 workspaces, but you're not limited to that. You can change these workspaces. You can create your own. They are very, very simple to do. You'll notice that in the middle of these workspaces, you have your grid screens, and just like previous versions of AX, you can add columns, resort them, and so forth. And on this left-hand side, these are different views of the same grid. So you can actually write your own queries. Like if you want to and monitor all purchase orders with a particular vendor separately, you could create your own query, and then you could add it to this list. And so to move back and forth between those queries would just be moving back and forth between these different options. So a lot of power for personal productivity. These are tiles. The tiles can also open up the grid screen, so they're just another way. And these tiles can count for you. Like if you want to know how many lines on a do you have on purchase orders that are outstanding, it can count for you. Then if you open up, it will tell you, it will show you the details of what you've counted. These counts can be added to the home page as well, so that you could see underneath. So still, you haven't lost your aerial view on the home page or dashboard, but you can drill down and get more information. A lot of these workspaces are horizontal, meaning they work for every company. Some of those are like period end close for finance, and some of them are industry related. But again, you're not limited to what those are. They can be designed and set up by any user. Okay, we're gonna, not what I expected. Guess we'll just go ahead and talk about it though. So I told you that transportation, the transportation module was also a part of D635 for operations, and as I said before, it's part of R3, the AX 2012 R3 as well. And this is just a visual. You know, of course, you have setups, but then the transportation management module will assist you with load and shipment planning. It can help you identify what the best rates and fastest routes are. It does confirmation. It assists you also with freight reconciliation, and it can help you track and keep up with dock appointments and manage your dock for these shipments coming in and out. Starts with sales orders, purchase orders, and transfer orders. The person who's in charge of transportation has a load planning workbench that they can work on. They can do inbound and outbound planning. You can have multiple shipments on a load, or you can have multiple loads for a shipment. So it's very flexible in doing that. It allows you to consolidate orders. You know, you can do split orders, and you can manage capacity, load capacity with this functionality. So the system can also help you find the least expensive rate, do rate shopping, routing with rate. It can interface. It does have its rating does have a rating engine that you can manage, or it can be it could be fed by with a little customization. It could be fed by other rate engines that are out there. It does support multi-segment, multimodal routes, as well as multi-stop routes. It can handle accessory and fuel charges as well. And it does, accounting will love the fact that it does help with freight reconciliation, and makes that a lot more automated and flows seamlessly into accounts payable. The appointment schedule, if you have a busy dock, this is very important for you to be able to schedule pickup and delivery of goods. And you can have send this appointment information to the drivers, and you can have drivers check in and check out with a mobile app if you would like for them to. Okay, so I stuck transportation right in between our productivity. My apologies with that. So we're back to personal productivity, and this is an example of what a menu looks like within Dynamics 365 for operations. But I'll tell you what, the menu is probably the least effective way to find information now. You are able to create favorites, you're able to look at your recents. Workspaces is definitely how I think that new users of Dynamics 365 for Enterprise will use. And then you'll also notice right up here on the right hand side a magnifying glass, and this is a search function, and you can just type in the name and it will take you to the correct module without having to even go through the menu at all. I think the most important thing that that continues to be true with AX, Dynamics 365 Enterprise, is that it looks and operates very exactly like the Office products. And so if you know how to use Excel, if you know how to use Outlook or Word, training is very easy for Dynamics 365 for Enterprise. So a little more about these workspaces. My slide here says alphabetical organization, but you should know that you can organize them any way that you want to. And you can choose which ones show and which ones don't. And they're totally personalizable by individual. So another really powerful functionality that comes with D365 Enterprise is the expense management. And especially the mobility side of things. Here you see a workspace on the mobile, or you can see you can go on the mobile phone into workspaces, into the expense report. You see how clear this is. We can create a new expense. We have a header. We can attach, take pictures and attach receipts. You see that so far, my trip to Seattle, as I am incurred parking and meals and more meals, I just took pictures and attached the invoices, and it starts to build my expense report. And when I'm finished with it, it's a matter of just hitting submit to go. So another advantage of D365O, I'm just going to start calling that for short, is the ability to just the mobile access to your reports, and also the integration, well, the ability to share and collaborate, and that's Dynamics 365E offers the ability to share and collaborate with vendors and customers, and you can do that, of course, with employees as well. And it also offers Power BI, Power Business Intelligence. Not only can you, with Power BI, can you create your own KPIs or key performance indicators, or make changes to the ones that come out of the box with the product. You can also create your own Power BIs, and you can also combine data from multiple sources together if need be. So for example, if you sell a product that sales depends or is directly correlated with the weather, then you could actually add in weather forecast along with your forecast and view this information, you know, at the same time. I really, in this short period of time, cannot tell you how much power there is in Power BI, but there's a considerable amount of power there for you to utilize. This screen shows us a work space that is for cost analysis, and you see the Power BI here. Again, that can be tailored just by double clicking on that and you go right straight into the Power BI. So the extensibility part of D365O is twofold. One, with Power Apps and Microsoft Flow, which are two apps that are new that work closely with Dynamics 365O, gives the ability for an IT pro or a power user in Dynamics 365O to configure their own business processes and build custom apps. So not totally dependent on pro developers. Microsoft is continually developing these tools, and it's quite nice to see. But that doesn't, obviously from time to time, a pro developer is going to be needed, and Microsoft has worked very difficult. Microsoft has worked very hard to allow this to continue so that their product can be customized, realizing that they can't be everything for everybody, even though they do a pretty good job of doing so. So as they've moved to the Dynamics 365 D365O platform, they have changed up how customizations are done and made it, the idea behind it is that they want to continue to make it easier for you to upgrade. They understand that upgrades with their product in the past have been somewhat cumbersome and difficult to do, and Dynamics 365O for operations they're working very hard to make that easier and faster so that you don't have to wait so long, that you could get new functionality as they come out with it and put it right in your business right away. And so one of the ways that they've done that is they've changed the way that customizations are done. They're basically call outs now instead of code being changed, and that just makes it safer and easier for upgrades to happen. I personally am very excited to see Microsoft go in this direction. I think having more having ability to get updates and upgrades faster with less labor, and making it less labor intensive and less risky, is definitely the way to go. Certainly brings more power. Dynamics 365O, I have to say, is the completest ERP solution I've been a part of. It definitely has complete sales and marketing, functionality, manufacturing, supply chain management, procurement, sourcing, project accounting, which can be used in multiple ways. Certainly if you're service type business and have maintenance repair type projects, or if you're a custom home builder, you would have projects, but those are not the only ways that project accounting can be utilized. It can be utilized if you are creating an internal asset. Maybe you're using some of your skilled labor within your company to build the building for storage. That could be an internal project that, once all the costs associated, including labor, were attached, it could be turned into it could be capitalized and turned into an asset. Project accounting can also be used to keep track of costs of things like trade shows, and to track how many sales came out of those trade shows. So it is a very powerful feature that can be utilized in multiple ways. Human capital management, very important aspect, and Dynamics 365O offers quite a bit of functionality, and it's all the way from hire to retire and everything in between. You can keep track of travel and expenses. It does offer payroll, but you can also keep track of classes. If you give safety classes, for example, and you have that employees are required to go to, and you have to keep track of that, you can set up these classes, enroll attendees, track whether they attended, if they passed. You can also keep track of things if you have certifications for employees or your resources within your company. You can be notified when they need to go get a physical in order to maintain their CDL license or things of that nature. Financial management, really lot to say here. Multi-company handles intercompany very well. Multi-currency handles that very well. Consolidations, reporting, management reporter is a evolution of FRX reporting. It continues to get better. It is even better with the Dynamics 365 version. Financial management's very complete, and I think probably one of the neatest things about it are financial dimensions and your ability to keep your chart of accounts very concise and simple, but you're able to break out your P&Ls and balance sheets or any other kind of financial data that you want to by financial dimensions, and that can occur anytime. And does not affect your chart of accounts. So a lot of power and simplicity there. And last but not least, Power BI and reporting, and that continues to increase as well. With D365 and with D365O and the HTML5 platform, it does also open up Microsoft App Source and the ability for users of D365O to utilize apps. So just get your hands on more functionality. So D365O can also be deployed in multiple environments. It can be a cloud-based, true SaaS scenario, software as a service. It has elastic scale out. You're kind of hands off. You don't have to do any of the maintenance or worry about any of those things yourself. As far as upgrades are concerned, you do have the ability to plan those, but it and you know, you do have a test. You'll have a test dev environment, and it can be deployed to test. You can test it and then choose when they move up to live. But it will happen on a fairly regular basis and shouldn't be as cumbersome as upgrades have been in the past. Also offer a hybrid where part's in the cloud and part is customer managed, and then we have our on-prem where the data is kept locally. I suppose I want to say one more thing about the cloud, and that is that you are in a single instance. So unlike some of our competitors that I mean, your code is your own. You decide when it's upgraded. Some of our competitors that offer SaaS models do not offer this. They have multi-instances, and so everybody has to be upgraded software-wise at the same time, and they have no choice in that. So that is not the case here. As you might guess, with Microsoft, as far as their storage data centers, there's 100 plus of them, and they have 36 regions worldwide. A lot of redundancy, offer, as most do, you know, 99.9% uptime. I'm not sure it's actually that high. It might be more like 98%, but it's a very quiet uptime. I mean, a very high uptime. And as you see, there's lots of places, you know, for fallback. So Microsoft offers service operations you can count on. Reliability there, I'm 99.5. I said 99.9. I was pretty close. Control over planned maintenance, as I said. They do proactive monitoring. You have redundancy, and they do support service level agreements. Now, if this particular screen just shows what's included and how the pricing works. In Dynamics 365 SaaS model, you pay per user, and it's depend on what kind of user the payment. You have a high availability infrastructure, the hardware, the software, networking, all of that is included. Disaster recovery is included. A sandbox or test environment is also included. They will also do servicing to the production environment. That's included. And you have, embedded Power BI as well. So there's some other software that you get to use when you're part of the SaaS model. On premises, you have to pay for your hardware and software up front. You do not get the infrastructure, of course. Your disaster recovery is not included, and this is an example of price of what that normally is. And your sandbox and other software are not included as well. So this is just to show that there's quite an advantage to SaaS if it works well for your system. So here's some of the plans and promotions, and it talks a little bit about these are the different kinds of some different options that are presented. The Unified Operations Plan. So if you're going to upgrade path this to SaaS from AX on-premise, this may be the best option for you. And between now and the year 2019, you get 40% off. So if you're a current AX user and you are upgrading to D365V, you do get a 40% discount. That's pretty sizable. So here's some of the licenses with the associated costs. Notice one of them is $8 a month for a user. This user can record time, expenses. They can improve time and expenses as well as invoices. They can manage their personal information as well as any employees that might work for them. They can create purchase requisitions, that can go through an approval process and then be turned into purchase orders. They can also have the ability to create or edit quality service orders and department level budgets. So quite a bit of functionality that they can do here for $8 a month. The next type of license is the activity license, and these are more transactional workers. They can approve invoices, they can create and edit items. You see it's a little more longer list than the team member type item, and they can also operate a shop floor device or warehouse device with this activity user. Device users allow multiple users, so if you have on the shop floor, if you have one device that people log in and log out and log on to different jobs to, then you can use it as a device license. And then the full user, they can do anything, is the most expensive license. So that's just a quick overview of the different kinds of licenses. So we've got about 7 minutes left, and so if there's any questions, I'd like to answer those now. Let's see if I can. Does anybody have any questions?
Oh, I don't see any questions.
Okay. Well, our desire today was to just whet your appetite to know a little bit more about this wonderful product. And I have to tell you, I was kind of hesitant. I'm, human, resistant to change, but I was kind of hesitant when I started working with it about 1.5 years ago. And I will tell you that I've certainly fallen in love with it. And from a personal productivity standpoint, I think it's unparalleled. And so, yes?
We have a question.
Okay.
Rob Alford asked, how about OLED cubes? Are some built into the product?
Wow, Rob, I do not know the answer to that one. Nancy, I think we'll have to get back to him on that one.
Yeah, there used to be, I know, in like 2012, so...
I would think yes, but I don't want to answer without knowing for sure. But we certainly can get back to you. Others on our team know the answer to that.
He said no problem, so we will get back to him on that. Thank you, Rob.
Okay, well,
Oh, wait. Nope, that's it.
okay, well, as again, we at Clients First appreciate your time and attendance in this, and we would next steps, if you need support with your existing AX installation, we're here to do it. As I said in the beginning, we worked all the way from AX2 to now Dynamics 365 for operations. If you'd like an upgrade assessment, we can help you with that. And since this wasn't really a demo, more just a what's out there, we would be happy to give you a personalized demonstration of the product as well. So thank you for your time, and we hope to hear from you soon.